Всем привет! Мы продолжаем прохождение игры Dragon Age Начало. Сейчас мы в лагере. Вот. Ну и, судя по всему, я так думаю, что пришла нам пора поговорить с Алистером.
Something on your mind?
Так, ну давайте так. Мне опять снился архидемон.
Yes, me too. And I got the feeling at the end there that it saw us, was aware of us, whatever you want to call it. Could have just been my imagination, I suppose. What do you think?
Думаю, что архидемон должен умереть и поскорее.
Well, short of waltzing through the entire Darkspawn horde and tapping it on the nose, I'm not sure just how we're supposed to do that. But killing the archdemon is the general plan, I understand. Good to have you on board. I guess one thing is certain at least, isn't it? It's official. This is a blight.
Так, мы поговорим еще.
Something on your mind?
Хочу тебя кое о чем спросить.
Of course.
Что именно умеют храмовники?
Essentially, they're trained to fight. The Chantry would tell you that the Templars exist simply to defend. But don't let them fool you. They're an army. The other main purpose for a Templar is, of course, to hunt mages. To that end, we train in talents that drain mana and disrupt spells.
А разве другие не могут научиться тому, что умеют храмовники?
Perhaps, but there usually isn't much of an opportunity. The Chantry keeps a close rein on its Templars. We are given lyrium to help develop our magical talents, you see. Which means we become addicted. And since the Chantry controls the lyrium trade with the dwarves, well, I'm sure you can put two and two together.
Просто ужас, не верится, что церковь на такое способна.
Well, they do it, and they feel perfectly justified. You don't need lyrium in order to learn the Templar talents. Lyrium just makes Templars' talents more effective. Or so I was told. Maybe it doesn't even do that. The Chantry usually doesn't let their Templars get away either, so they can spread their secrets. I'm a bit of an exception. Lucky me.
Ну что, говорим дальше. Алистер. Так, что это?
Something on your mind?
Хочу тебя кое о чем спросить.
Of course.
Ты можешь обучить других тому, что умеют храмовники?
Others, yes, but not yourself. I need someone who's trained first as a warrior. It's as much about discipline as anything. I guess if I'm going to give up Chantry secrets, I may as well go all the way. Send whoever you want trained to me in camp, and I'll see what I can do.
Так. Храмовники. Ну вот храмовники. И доступна специализация храмовника. Продолжаем разговор.
Something on your mind?
Хочу тебя кое о чем спросить.
Of course.
Расскажи мне о серых стражах.
Such as they are.
Где поблизости стоят серые стражи?
That's a good question. There's plenty in Orlais, but who knows where they might be found. And the nearest Orlesian city is weeks away. If we go north and cross the sea, there's bound to be some in the free marches. Again, however, I just don't know where. I don't know anything about Grey Wardens in other lands.
У серых есть что-то вроде штаба?
Here in Ferelden, there's our compound in Denerim at the palace, but that's it. Loghain will have control over that and be watching it, no doubt. Beyond that, the only place I know of is Weishaupt Fortress. That's the headquarters of all Grey Wardens in the Anderfelds, 1,000 miles from here. But I've no idea how to even contact them. So unless we try to get back to the compound in Denerim, I suppose the answer is no. There's nowhere for us to go.
Так, нас осталось только двое. Что будет дальше?
I imagine that eventually the Grey Wardens outside of Ferelden will wonder what's happened. Why there's no contact from Duncan or someone. They'll send someone eventually. Though who knows what Loghain's people in Denerim will tell them. Maybe they won't send anyone. We could try to contact them. But that would mean leaving Ferelden, and even if we did, they couldn't come back with us in time to stop the Blight. So that means whatever happens, it's up to us.
А нам придется самим восстановить орден?
I mean, eventually we would have to use the joining to make more Grey Wardens, right? But I don't know how to do the joining, or what's involved. I know it involves lyrium and some other magic, and that it's really difficult to prepare, but that's it. Unless we can find out more about the joining, I guess we better get used to the idea that there might only be two of us for now. Until more come from elsewhere.
Что будет, если мы просто уйдем?
Just left? You mean just left Ferelden? I don't know. If there's an archdemon, however, we're supposed to be the only ones who can defeat it. And that means the Blight would grow unchecked. Eventually, other Grey Wardens in Orlais and other lands would hear about it, and they would come to fight it, but they wouldn't come in time to save Ferelden. There's no way. I'm not going anywhere.
У меня больше нет вопросов.
About the Grey Wardens, anyhow. Fair enough. Something on your mind?
Хочу тебя кое о чем спросить.
Of course.
Так, ну о стражах уже нет смысла. Как ты стал серым стражем?
Same way you did. You drink some blood, you choke on it, and pass out. You haven't forgotten already, have you?
Я про то, что было до посвящения.
Let's see. I was in the Chantry before. I trained for many years to become a Templar, in fact. That's where I learned most of my skills.
Ты не похож на истого верующего человека.
You're telling me I was banished to the kitchens to scour the pots more times than I can count. And that's a lot. I can count pretty high. The Grand Cleric didn't want to let me go. Duncan was forced to conscript me, actually, and was she ever furious when he did. I thought she was going to have us both arrested. I was lucky.
Почему владыка церкви не хотела тебя отпускать?
I wondered that myself. It's not as if she valued me highly. I think she just didn't want to give anything to the Grey Wardens, is all. The Chantry didn't lose much. And I think I can do more fighting the Blight anyhow, rather than sitting in a temple somewhere. I'll always be thankful to Duncan for recruiting me. If it hadn't been for him, you know, I wouldn't have.
Он был хорошим человеком.
He was. A good man who didn't deserve his fate. That much I'm sure of. Come on, let's go. I think I'm done talking.
Так. Ну что, продолжаем разговор. Хочешь поговорить о Дункане?
You don't have to do that. I know you didn't know him as long as I did.
Но это не мешает мне скорбеть о нем.
I should have handled it better. Duncan warned me right from the beginning that this could happen. Any of us could die in battle. I shouldn't have lost it, not when so much is riding on us, not with the Blight and everything. I'm sorry.
За что ты извиняешься?
I'd like to have a proper funeral for him. Maybe once this is all done, if we're still alive. I don't think he had any family to speak of.
Замечательная мысль.
I think he came from Hyeba, or so he said. Maybe I'll go up there sometime. See about putting up something in his honor. I don't know. Have you had someone close to you die? Not that I mean to pry, I'm just...
Меня совсем недавно убили всех родных.
Oh, of course. How stupid of me to forget. Here I am going on and on about Duncan, and you... I am so sorry. Thank you. It was good to talk about this with a friend. It means a lot to me.
Возможно, я отправлюсь в Хаир вместе с тобой.
I'd like that. So would he, I think. Something on your mind?
Хочу тебя кое о чем спросить.
Of course.
Ты говоришь, тебя вырастил Релиамон?
Did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfells. A whole pack of them, in fact.
А время ты говорил совсем другое, помнится.
Well, if you're going to go and pay attention to the facts, then fine. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard. And before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Arleman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respected the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Почему он отдал тебя в монахи?
Arleman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, then you, Alessa, resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Isle didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Alessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
Так, чудовищно поступать так с ребенком.
Maybe. She felt threatened by my presence, I can see that now. I can't say I blame her. She wondered if the rumors were true herself, I bet. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid thing to do. The Isle came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
Ты был молод.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Кодекс Алистер. Ага. Обновился кодекс Алистера. Так. Поехали дальше. Хочу тебя кое о чем спросить.
Of course.
Так. Почему же ты остался храмовником, если ненавидишь церковь?
Have you seen the uniform? It's not only stylish, but well made. I'm a sucker for good tailoring.
Я думал, что храмовники носят по большей части тяжелые доспехи.
That's just in public. In private, we have these yellow and purple tunics, right? Much more comfortable, and you don't break the beds when you jump on them during a pillow fight.
Какова же настоящая причина?
You don't really want to know about my being a Templar, do you? It's really quite boring.
Ты не обязан мне о чем рассказывать. Мне просто стало любопытно, вот и все.
I suppose there's no harm in it then. Sorry if I was being perverse. I'm just not used to anyone asking me these things. The truth of the matter is that I did hate going to the monastery. The initiates from poor families thought I put on airs, while the noble ones called me a bastard and ignored me. I felt like Al Eamon had cast me off unwanted, and I was determined to be bitter. But I took some solace in the training itself, I guess. I was actually quite good at it.
Что же тебе понравилось в обучении?
The education, mostly, but also the discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind in order to use the abilities we have. It was difficult, but rewarding. I never really felt at home anywhere, though, until I joined the Grey Wardens. And Duncan felt my Templar abilities might be useful when we encountered Darkspawn magic, so I kept it up. What about you? Do you have anywhere you consider home?
Мой дом был захвачен Эрлом Холл.
Right. Stupid of me to ask. I'm sorry. We won't always be traveling like this, you know. Once the war is over, once the Blight is... well, a time will come when we'll have to think about having a real home again. Though that seems like a far ways off. And I suppose the Grey Wardens are gone for good. Either way.
Их можно возродить.
I suppose you're right. We can create new Grey Wardens, but we'll never get back those we lost. I wonder if it would ever feel the same. Anyhow, now I've sidetracked us. We'd better get back to what we're supposed to be doing right now.
Так, ну что, продолжаем разговор.
Something on your mind?
Хочу тебя кое о чем спросить.
Of course.
Так, ну это длинный вопрос. Что в человеке меняется после посвящения?
You mean other than becoming a Grey Warden?
Ты в стражах дольше, чем я.
You know, I asked Duncan this too, and all I got was, you'll see.
Он не хотел тебе говорить?
Oh, it's not that Duncan wants to keep it a secret, it's just that the Grey Wardens don't discuss it much. I gather it's not a pleasant topic. The first change I noticed was an increase in appetite. I used to get up in the middle of the night and raid the castle larder. I thought I was starving. I'd slurp down every dinner like it was my last. My face all covered in gravy. When I'd look up, the other Grey Wardens would stare, then laugh themselves to tears.
Так это была шутка?
More like an initiation. They all went through it too. Oh, and then there were the nightmares. Duncan said it was part of how we sense the Darkspawn. We tap into their, well, I don't know what you call it, their group mind. And when we sleep, it's even worse. You learn to block it out after a while, but at first it's hard. It's supposed to be worse for those who join during a blight. How is it for you?
Да, мне снились какие-то тяжелые сны.
Some people never have much trouble, but that's rare. Others have trouble sleeping their entire life. They're just more sensitive, I suppose. Everyone ends up the same, though. Once you reach a certain age, the real nightmares come. That's how a Grey Warden knows his time has come.
О чем ты?
Oh, that's right. We never had time to tell you that part, did we? Well, in addition to all the other wonderful things about being a Grey Warden, you don't need to worry about dying from old age. You've got 30 years to live, give or take. The taint, it's a death sentence. Ultimately, your body won't be able to take it. When the time comes, most Grey Wardens go to Orzammar and die in battle rather than waiting. It's tradition.
А почему именно Орзамар?
You'll always find Darkspawn down where the dwarves are. The oldest Grey Wardens head to the deep roads for one last glorious battle. Not that there's a shortage of Darkspawn during a blight, but that's the tradition. The dwarves respect us for it. And you wondered why we kept the joining a secret from the new recruits. There you have it.
Как по мне, цена чересчур высока.
I suppose it is. We're the only ones who can stop the blight, however. Is there a price too high to pay for that? You know, Duncan, he started having the nightmares again. He told me that in private. He said it wouldn't be long before he'd go to Orzammar himself. I guess he got what he wanted. I just wish it had been something worthy of him.
Так. Алистер, его не забудут, как и всех остальных.
I know. Ending the blight should make this all worthwhile, right?
Так, ну вот мы и узнали, в конце концов, что Дункан собирался на глубинные тропы, дабы умереть в бою. И, в общем-то, смерть он принял именно ту, которой и хотел. Ну что, говорим дальше.
Something on your mind?
Хочу спросить,
Of course.
как это быть одним из серых стражей?
I didn't know them for very long, but I guess it was longer than you. You never met them all, did you? They were quite a group. Actually, they felt like an extended family since we were all cut off from our former lives. We also laughed more than you'd think. There was this one time... Well, you probably don't want to hear stories about men you didn't know.
Вовсе нет, расскажи что-нибудь.
There was one Grey Warden who came all the way from the Anderfells. What was his name? Gregor... He was a burly man with the biggest, fuzziest beard you've ever seen. And the man could drink. He drank all the time, but he never got drunk. Finally, we all made a pool to see just how many pints it would take to put him under the table.
Весело тут у вас было.
Sometimes. We were kin of a sort. All of us had gone through the joining, so we knew... Well, anyhow, it doesn't have to be deadly serious all the time. Anyhow, we never did find out. He said he'd drink a pint for every half pint that the rest of us drank. He was still going by the time the rest of us were passed out. I'm told that Duncan walked in later on and saw us all passed out from one end of the hall to the other, and Gregor still drinking. Duncan laughed until he nearly... Until...
Так, ну давайте первый вариант. Алистер, погибло множество людей, и еще немало погибнет в будущем.
Yes, I suppose so. I thought I was done with this, but it just struck me that I have nothing to remember Duncan by. Nothing at all. There's no body, not even a token of his that I could take with me. That must sound really stupid to you.
Зато у тебя есть воспоминания о нем.
I just would have liked something of his to take with me, that's all. Well, there's no use in moaning about it, is there? He's gone. Let's just go.
Так. Так, ну продолжаем разговор.
I'm wondering something. I'd like to know your thoughts about some of our traveling companions. Do you mind if I ask?
Нет, не против.
How about Ogren? You must have an opinion on the smell, at the very least.
Он превосходный воин.
Yeah, that's what I thought you'd say. For a drunk, he's an excellent warrior, right? How he lifts his sword is a bit of a mystery. Though I suppose the point is that he does lift it. And so long as we can point him in the right direction, he charges too. He has gusto, I'll give him that. Zevran, the elf. You can't trust him, can you? Do you believe his so-called vow?
А возможно, поглядим.
That's a lot to put on a maybe, isn't it? He's an assassin. The crows aren't known for giving up. Maybe he's just biding his time.
Хочу дать ему шанс.
Well, if you are, then maybe I should too. But that doesn't mean I won't keep an eye on him. He's just too shifty. What about Stэн? The way he looks at me with those eyes. Creepy. And he's so quiet for someone so big.
Он очень предан, этого у него не отнять.
Yet he doesn't seem quite so bad as the Chantry tells us. According to them, his philosophy is vile and evil. Yet he seems so reasonable. And yet, he killed all those people. He doesn't even deny it. Doesn't that bother you?
Мне кажется, он сожалеет о том, что совершил.
I'm not so sure that his regret means the same as it would for us. The Kunari sense of honor is a bit hard to grasp. For me, anyway. What about Liliana? Is she crazy? Or do you really believe in her vision?
Я верю, что Лилиана верит в свой пророческий дар.
That's one way to put it. I noticed that you and her have become close. Am I right? The rest of us have talked about it.
Сплетничаете о нас.
You think we have better things to do than gossip about you? You give us far too much credit. Is it true or not?
Да, у любовника.
I thought so. Well, I hope you know what you're doing. I don't know what to make of her. If you look at her when she doesn't see you, she just looks so sad. I almost feel guilty taking her away from her life.
Это был ее выбор.
Yes, I know. Still, I feel badly for her. Morrigan, do you trust her? Think about it. Maybe Flemeth sent her with us for some other reason than she said.
Вы и впрямь друг друга терпеть не можете, верно?
Well, aside from the fact that she's a complete and utter bitch, no, I don't like her at all. Why, do you?
Я думаю, что она очень красивая. А ты как считаешь?
Sure. Beautiful, just like something that's also dangerous, like a beautiful, dangerous thing.
Признайся, тебя к ней тянет.
Oh, I give up. Do what you want. Enough. I think my curiosity is sated. Let's get back to it, shall we?
Так, ну все. С Алистером поговорили. Давайте теперь переговорим со Стэном. Тоже пришла пора.
You are not quite as callow as I thought. That is unexpected.
Спасибо на добром слове.
You're welcome.
Зачем ты пришел, Ферелден?
I was sent to be the eyes of the Antom. The Arishok asked what is the blight. By his curiosity, I am now here.
Тебе не нужно в таком случае вернуться с рапортом?
Yes,
Почему же ты до сих пор здесь?
I cannot go home.
Почему?
It doesn't matter now. Can we move on? We keep the darkspawn waiting.
Идем.
As you wish.
Так, дальше говори.
Why are we stopping?
Решил побеседовать.
There are darkspawn to be fought. Is this delay needful?
порядке? Все-таки ты в той клетке не одну неделю просидел.
You are concerned. No need. I am fit enough to fight.
Раньше никогда не видел Кунари. Расскажи мне о своем народе.
No.
Нет, почему?
People are not simple. They cannot be summarized for easy reference in the manner of the elves are a lithe, pointy-eared people who excel at poverty.
Ты говорил, что состоишь в армии.
I am.
Когда-нибудь участвовал в войне?
I have always fought in war, human.
Значит, поле боя для тебя как дом родной?
Some of them. They aren't all alike.
Пошли.
As you wish.
Так. Первые плюс 2. Ага, 76. Говорим дальше.
You called.
У меня вопрос.
I am hardly surprised.
Тебе не кажется странным, как живут фералденцы?
To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Your farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are.
Ага, вот. А тебе вообще что-нибудь в Фрилдене нравится?
There is interesting food here. You have a thing. It doesn't have a word in the Kunari tongue. Little baked things like bread, but sweet and crumbly.
Печенье?
Yes, we have no such things in our lands. This should be remedied.
Буду иметь в виду.
Shall we move on?
Кажется, ты тоскуешь... Так. Кажется, ты тоскуешь по дому.
Perhaps. It's strange to be in a crowd and hear a language that is not your own. To see faces that are and aren't like yours. I miss the smells of Saharon. Tea and incense and the sea. Ferelden smells of wet dogs.
А Кунари никогда не хотят изменить свой жребий.
What does that accomplish? The farmer who buys a shop is never a merchant. He is always a farmer turned merchant. He carries his old life with him as a turtle carries its shell.
А вдруг так задумано, чтобы он был купцом?
Meant by whom? And if that were indeed his purpose, why did that mysterious source of meaning not make him so to begin with?
Как же найти цель, если не искать ее?
You can learn to find it in doing your duty, in serving your people. There is no need to search for it. Shall we move on?
Идем.
As you wish.
Так, ого, аж 18. Ничего себе. Ничего себе.
You called.
Почему тебя взяли под замок?
I caged myself. A weak mind is a deadly foe, as you are no doubt aware.
Что случилось?
I came to your lands with 7 of the Beresad, my brothers, to seek answers about the Blight. We made our way across the Ferelden countryside without incident, seeing nothing of the threat we were sent to observe. Until the night we camped by Lake Calenhad. They came from everywhere. The earth beneath our feet, the air above us. Our own shadows harbored the darkspawn. I saw the last of the creatures cut down, too late. I fell.
Что случилось с остальными Кунари?
I am told no others survived. I don't know how long I lay on the battlefield among the dead, nor do I know how the farmers found me. I only know that when I woke I was no longer among my brothers, and my sword was gone from my hand.
Наверное, обронил его на поле боя.
Perhaps. I searched for it, and when that failed, I asked my rescuers what had become of it.
А потом...
I killed them. With my bare hands. I did. I knew they didn't have the blade. They had no reason to lie to me. I panicked. Unthinking, I struck them down.
Потерял рассудок из-за пропавшего меча.
That sword was made for my hand alone. I have carried it from the day I was set into the Beresad. I was to die wielding it for my people. Even if I could cross Ferelden and Tevinter unarmed and alone to bring my report to the Arishok, I would be slain on sight by the Antam. They would know me as soulless, a deserter. No soldier would cast aside his blade while he drew breath.
Может, тебе удастся его найти?
If I knew where to look, it would be in my hand now.
Где ты сражался с порождениями тьмы?
Near Lake Callanhad.
Не волнуйся, мы его найдем.
Perhaps those words are empty, but thank you all the same.
Так, вот. Меч Бересада. Искать меч Стэна. Что? 98. Ну, поговорим.
You called.
Не вопрос.
I am hardly surprised.
Так, ну все, ладно. Забудь.
Very well.
Я хотел поговорить кое о чем ты упоминал.
Speak then.
Хватит на этот раз.
Then I suggest we move on.
Все, идем.
As you wish.
Больше не о чем с ним говорить. Так. Ну что, песик? Клык?
Oh, why, you little...
Что такое? Что случилось?
Your furry friend here took offense at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
Тебя просто предостерег, а ведь мог и руку откусить.
Don't you think I don't know it? Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me. I once heard a really old legend about how the hound warriors in the days of the old tribes would feed their Mabari the flesh of the vanquished. Well, that's what I heard anyway. It would sometimes be human flesh. Oh, like you can tell the difference. For all you know, maybe you've already been fed something. Someone.
Не слушай Алистера, он вечно несет чушь.
Hey!
Это Стэн, ну да, тот фул. Так, ну пес.
Look at what your fool dog placed in my pack. A putrid, half-eaten hare is not something a woman wants to find in her unmentionables.
Дорог не подарок, а внимание. Он не хотел ничего дурного.
The dirty mongrel can have this back, there, and tell him not to do it again.
Это был подарок, его нельзя просто так взять и выбросить.
I just did. I don't want it, you worthless fur bag.
Думаю, ты оскорбила его в лучших чувствах.
Oh, he's just trying to be manipulative, I can tell. I do it too.
Ну что, Клык?
Your dog is filthy. I
can smell him 50 yards off.
Уверен, что ты преувеличиваешь.
That may be so, but all the same, I would like your permission to bathe him.
Помыть, а ты не можешь просто взмахнуть своим посохом, и чтобы он сразу стал чистым.
No, that's not what magic is used for. Just make him sleep over on the other side of the camp, with Allister. With any luck, that will keep all the stench confined to one small area.
Так, ну вот пес остался немытым. Ладно. Наблюдать за Стэном и Клык.
You are a true warrior and worthy of respect.
Хочешь прокопать туннель на ту сторону мира? Ты знаешь, это ведь скоро не выйдет. Что ж, удачи тебе в этом деле. Приласкать Клык. Позвать Клыка. Ну вот, такая вот получилась серия. Поговорили со всеми теми, с кем еще не успели поговорить. Пришло время, я так думаю. Утро, в лагерь. Вот. Всем спасибо за просмотр. Удачи и до новых встреч.